हेलो हेलो। यस मैम, गुड मॉर्निंग। जी मैम, एक नंबर मिला है, मतलब वो वाला भी नेक्स्ट वीक मिलेगा। हाँ हाँ मैम, सेम नंबर के लिए तो टाइम लगा। मैम वो ना मैंने अजय खोखागर का नंबर भेजा है आपको, प्लीज़ मेरे को ना ग्रुप में ऐड कर लीजिए, हमारे रिसोर्स पर्सन है वो। ठीक है मैम।
Good morning. Vimal, you can start the session now.
Thank you. आपको फॉरवर्ड कर रहा हूँ।
Bimal, your voice is not audible. Have you unmuted yourself?
Am I audible now?
Yes, Bimal.
Good morning, all. I am Vimal Atudi from Lend a Hand India. Today, I am your host, and a warm welcome to the third orientation session of CBSE online course on multi-skill foundation course. We hope that all of you are safe and taking care of yourself and family in this COVID-19 pandemic. Before we start the session, we would like to take this opportunity to thank CBSE Honorable Chairman Mr. Ahuja Sir, CBSE Honorable Director Mr. Saha Sir, and Joint Secretary Mr. RP Singh Sir for giving us this great opportunity. We would like to thank Dr. Swati Gupta and Mr. Gulshan from CBSE Center of Excellence, Noida. Without their support, this training could not be happened. So far, in this course, we have covered technical and life sciences part. Many of you have completed all the 8 modules with assessment. I would like to congratulate them all. The final result will be communicated to you on your registered email ID after you finish all the modules. In the first technical module, we have covered 4 different practicals related to workshop and engineering technique and energy environment. In the second life sciences module, we have covered 4 different practicals related to gardening, nursery agriculture techniques, food processing techniques, and personal health and hygiene. So this module we have seen in this course is delivered through doing actual practical, doing demonstration for a student, through guest lecture of the practitioners, field visit, and engaging in community work. All the method focus on learning by doing approach. If you have any query regarding these modules, please write them in the chat box or email us on cbsetraining@landahandindia.org. Today, we have an orientation session about the third module, pedagogy and employability skill, under which we will be covering 4 informative and interactive sessions. The first session is employability skills. In this session, we will learn how employability skills help a student for work life. In the second session, we will learn what is positive classroom environment, why it is important to create a safe and transformative space for learning. These sessions will teach the importance of having a positive and safe learning environment. In the third session, student engagement and classroom participation. The NCF states that the space in the school should be nurtured at the context where the children feel safe, happy, and wanted. In the fourth session, lesson planning, this mode module is focused on aim to inspire confidence of the teachers who will take the multi-skill foundation course in their respective classes. This module will teach how to make a weekly plan, planning resources time, and lesson planning. At the last, at the last special announcement to all, the attendance form will be shared in the last 10 minutes of the session. I'm repeating this, the attendance forms will be shared in the last 10 minutes of the session. Now I am inviting Medha Bankar for the first session of the module 3 pedagogy and employability skill. Over to you, Medha.
Hello, good morning. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, Medha, you are audible.
Yes, thank you, Bimal, for such a positive start to the day. And a hearty welcome to all the teachers that are present, that have joined the training from various locations. My name is Medha. I work with Lenda and India. And today we are going to talk about employability skills, what exactly employability skills are, how they affect us, and how the students should be prepared for it. And while preparing for
Medha, you
employability
are audible.
skills, we are going to try a unique approach wherein we are not going to talk about employability skills as something in isolation, but we are going to talk about a new strategy which will help the students learn employability skills better. So let's begin with the session. A small request that the session would be, I would be asking a lot of questions during the session, and a request to participate lively so that we can have a much more active discussion in the group. At the same time, I would also request that in case you have any query that you would like to discuss, you can please raise your hands and then someone can help you unmute and then we can discuss the same at the same time and then we can move ahead with the discussion. Okay, so let's get started on employability skills for today. Next slide, please. Yeah. So we'll quickly have a small game kind of a thing wherein I'll be showing some pictures and you should be telling me in 2 or 3 sentences about what do you think are the skills necessary for this profession. Okay, ready? So the first thing is a banker, people skills, communication, speaking, communication again, numerical aptitude, social skills, communication. Okay, great. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Next picture, please. Okay, so this is a corporate team working in various positions in a corporate. So, what do you think? People are messaging that my voice is not audible. Am I audible enough?
Yes, it is audible, Medha. I think
Okay,
there will be network issue at their end.
okay. Thank you. So, leadership, time management, teamwork, very good. Cooperation, communication, very good. Collaboration, right. Okay, next. Okay, the most sought out profession currently, the most sought out people right now, medical professionals, safety, empathy, dedication, yes, compassion, empathy, right, care, dedication, teamwork, protection, passion. Okay, thank you. Next, what does this person look like? An engineer. What do you think an engineer would require as skills? Professional, but what professional skills? Just be a bit more detailed. Imagination, very good. Innovation, yes. Technical know-how, management, creative, engineering, great. Thank you. Yes. Next picture, please. Okay, so this person looks like a chef working at a very nice grand hotel. Coaching, creation, pleasure, innovation, love of food, presentation. Right, great. Hospitality, yes. Thank you. Next picture, please. Okay, so we have a gardener here who's tending to his plants. Yes, for gardener, what skills? Self-motivated, love for nature, right? Handling tools, hard work, environment, environment friendly, dedicated, again, caring. Anything else? Patience. Right, right. Thank you. Thank you everyone for your participation. We'll stop with the comments right now. So, as you all have seen, this is a variety of professions that we find in and around us in our day to day lives. And like we saw, there are a few skills which are technical, which are specific to that trade, while there are some certain skills which are common across all the skills, which was teamwork, communication, dedication, making decisions, leadership. All these skills were common across all the professions. So, what are these skills? These skills exactly are what we are going to talk about in detail today. Next slide, please. Yes. So these skills are nothing else but employability skills. Now, what happens is a lot of time our education and our experience helps us to qualify for a job, but to perform at a certain level and to perform efficiently, we need a few more other skills. Like for example, we saw that an engineer might require drawing and creativity and measurements and stuff, but at the same time he has to work with a team. At the same time he has to make decisions. At the same time he has to manage his time. He has to keep his attitude positive. So all these things come under employability skills. Now the technical skills will help you do your job, but the employability skills will help you understand how the job can be done much more better. Now, any skills that help you to carry your role better at your workplace, to understand what your role is, to fit into a team, and carry out your work more efficiently, these skills are called as employability skills. Employability skills can be basically defined as some transferable skills that can uh, transferable skills का मतलब है that we can train people into these skills. We can give these skills to people even if they don't have it from the beginning. We can always have some kind of intervention with people. These skills can be transferred, and these skills help you become a preferred employee. Now, what is the meaning of a preferred employee is that when you are working in a team, there are n number of other people working around with you. What will make you a preferred employee, or what will make you such an employee who is sought after, who the management looks at that this person can be given any kind of responsibility and this person will shine out with bright colors? Who is such kind of a person? Any person who has employability skills. Next, please. Right. Now, what is the need of employability skills? Like we saw that with each profession, with each vocation, there are a lot of things that are common. At the same time, there are some different kind of things that we need as per the profession. Say, for example, a nurse might require empathy as her first priority, while at the same time a technical person or an investment broker will need how to manage time, how to make quick decisions, how to think critically. These are the skills that he will require. Again, a teacher, she will require good communication skills. She will require um, I'm sorry, a teacher might require how she can plan her lesson better, how she can bring life examples to the class. This might be the focus of a teacher. At the same time, a police officer might require to be brave. He will require to think differently. He will require to think like a criminal at times, so he can be able to solve the cases that he has. He has to be prompt. He has to be a good leader so that he can carry out his teamwork with a lot of efficiency. So, like we said, these skills are required, but these skills are specifically not taught, or these skills are not very much spoken of in our regular um, education or our formal education, which is why the need of employability skills is much, much, much higher. Now think of your jobs when you had joined at a place, and in your initial days, your uh, office or the place that you were employed would give you some kind of technical help. They would help you understand how the company functions, what are the rules there, and what things you should be taking care of. But no one might have taught you about how to work in a team, how to draft a letter, how to attend meetings, how to dress properly for a job. These things are the first things to be noticed. These things are the first things to be noticed, which is why we are going to talk about employability skills. That is the need of the hour, and hence we are going to talk about this in much more detail today. Next slide, please. Yes. So now you can see these students are actually learning something technical. They are at a workshop and engineering techniques workshop, and there they are trying to maintain or understand the machinery that is in front of them. But at the same time, do you think they are also thinking about something else? They are also working in a team, so automatically they are using their team skills. Some of the students, one of their students might take up some lead, and she is leading the project that they are doing. So leadership is happening there. They have to finish this project in some time, so that is why they are also looking at time management. They have to decide who has to do what. They are delegating responsibility. So all these things are happening at the same time very organically. Now employability skills is nothing else but this: how do you apply these life skills based on your job, or how you use these employability skills so that you can work more better, you can perform much more higher than you were expecting. These employability skills help you to connect with other employers, with other of your team members. They help you to solve problems. Employability skills help you to be a part of the team, understand what your role is in the team. And most of all, employability skills helps you to become more confident to be able to do your job and your responsibilities better. So far, is this good? Any questions related to what we are discussing right now? Any other questions, you will get the answers as the session progresses further. Okay, we can go to the next slide. Yes. So this is the strategy that we were talking about. What happens is, a lot of time, if you can recollect, we all had a topic called value education in our schools. Now we were taught about discipline, we were taught about kindness, we was taught about much other different things that we need. But what happens is, these topics are taken in isolation. So what happens is, until and unless you are in that situation, you don't really go back to that knowledge and try to apply it. So instead of teaching employability skills in isolation, we are going to have a different approach of integrating it with multi-skill foundation course. So as and when the students are learning their practical, the instructors are going to be trained in such a way, the trainers are going to be trained in such a way that they will be clubbing one component out of employability skill to multi-skill foundation course. Now think of such a situation: uh, you are working on a lesson plan for your class. At the same time, what are you looking at? You have 45 minutes for a class. You have to finish your class in those 45 minutes. You have to take attendance also, you have to give homework also. In the meantime, children will disturb you, so you have to keep some time for that also. All these things you have to take care of while preparing your lesson plan. So what are you applying there? You are applying time management, which means you are applying employability skills. So when we work on field, we have to merge our basic skill with employability skill. So while teaching also, we are going to keep the method similarly, and we are going to integrate employability skills with multi-skill foundation course. So why do we do this? Once you collaborate, you might have noticed that when you collaborate with different teams, or when you collaborate with different topics, you can get much more higher results. You get better results. You need to work very less, but you get greater results. So like collaboration, When you have learning also in collaboration with other things, it helps students to establish connections between two topics, and they can learn the things better, they can retain what they have learned better. While we work with students, we need to focus a lot on preparing them for being employed, especially when we are going to talk about vocational education. Our one of the main objectives is going to be of being helping the students be market ready for employment or for entrepreneurship. So we have to teach the students how they are going to be more efficient, how they can be balancing their personal and professional life, how they are going to be more responsible as a professional and as a human being, how they will be taking care of their own personal development. No one is going to come and teach them that now is the time to develop, now is the time to uh, uh, build your personality, so let's do something about it. No. So how the students can take this personal development on their own and try to learn things on their own and better their own personality, all these things are going to be taken care of with when we integrate multi-skill foundation skills with the employability skills. Okay, next slide please. Yes. Now what the previous slide, integration with multi-skill foundation course. So what we are going to do is we are going to merge trade specific knowledge. Trade specific knowledge. For example, you've seen practicals in the past few days. So anything that requires the necessary required soft skills are taken care of in multi-skill in employability skills, and they are merged together. So the student will always understand what the connection is between them. They will understand what are the links between these two, and they will try to apply their knowledge accordingly. Convergence of knowledge instead of isolation. What happens is students will try to find opportunities where they can apply this knowledge, where they can try such opportunities where they can immediately apply what they have learned. Better connections for better learning, like everyone knows, when we connect the dots, the picture becomes clearer. So accordingly, the students can understand that yes, for time management I need to do these things, my practical should be done in this much time. So these things should be connected, I should be planning myself accordingly. So this is what we take care of in the integration of these two subjects. Apart from that, because these skills are internationally equivalent and they are standardized, these skills are recognized across the globe. So anything that the student learns here can be applied across the globe, and accordingly employment and entrepreneurship opportunities for the students increase. The NSQF trainees will get an opportunity to promote lifelong learning and skill development, because the students are in a habit of exploring, because the students are in a habit of connecting the dots and learning. They will be set on a path of self learning for their lives, and they will be, of course, able to carry out any role or responsibility given to them at their best. Okay, next slide. The marking structure is employability skills has been given a weightage of 10 marks. So within the question paper of multi-skill foundation course, we are going to have questions from employability skills uh, that are going to weigh around 10 marks for the students. So apart from all the importance of integration and all the importance of application to real life, we need to look at this aspect also, and then accordingly prepare our students. Yes. Next slide. So, talking about the course structure and content, the employability skills module has been designed by Pandit Sundarlal Sharma Institute of Vocational Education. They have got beautiful modules and self-sufficient, self-explanatory modules are being designed, and it is going to be these modules are across standard 9 to standard 12. These modules are divided into 5 main components. These are communication skills, self-management skills, information and communication technology skills, entrepreneurship skills, and green skills. Now, what all comes under these skills, we will have a look at it in detail in the next slide. So, in each class from standard 9, same topics will be seen. In standard 9, you will have an introductory level and class 10th onwards, you will see some kind of progression in the topics happening. Okay, next. Yes. So in communication skills, we are going to start from what is communication, what is a communication cycle, how to talk about yourself, how to introduce. Then we are going to talk about uh, how to ask questions, what are basics of grammar, these things, writing emails, these things will come under communication skills. The next module is self management. So all things about positive thinking, strength and weakness analysis. Apart from that, we are going to talk about time management, decision making, uh, how to be better groomed. All these topics are going to be taken into self management skills course. The third topic is information and communication technology skills, wherein we are going to talk about the basic operations of a computer, how to open an email account, what is internet, what care should be taken while operating on internet, um, writing an email, how to reply an email, all these things. The next part is entrepreneurship skills. So, what is an entrepreneur? What are the role and qualities that an entrepreneur should have? What are the qualities that he should display? What different type of business activities? How to develop a business? How to prepare a business development plan? These things are covered under entrepreneurship skills. And last but not the least, green skills, wherein we are going to talk about um, how to give back to nature, how to be an entrepreneur in such a way that you don't harm the nature, what are green jobs, what is sustainable development. All these things are covered in these topics. So, as you might have seen, these topics, Jatin, please stay. Yeah. Yeah. So, these topics are uh, some very generic topics. These are required across all the professions. Now, once we tie it up with each of the practical, we are going to be able to understand what is its relevance there and how the students are going to be more prepared for it. So, what we have done is uh, we have prepared uh, a curriculum map wherein each practical from each section under the multi-skill foundation course is tied up with uh, an employability skill topic, and the connections are established. How the topic should be done is also given there. So these things we can take care of, and we can look at it accordingly. Okay. So next slide, we will be able to understand this curriculum mapping activity. Okay. So here everyone can see the multi-skill topic is a workshop and engineering techniques. Uh, Under it, the practical is measuring. You might have seen a topic, you might have seen practicals, various practicals under engineering, wherein measuring or understanding measurements is one of the topics there. So in that, they are going to learn about how to measure things, how it should be accurate and stuff. So here, from the component of communication skills under employability skills, we are going to take one topic called as verbal communication. Now in verbal communication, we are going to explain them what are the 7 C's of communication, what is verbal communication, how it is to be conducted, how it can be made more effective. These things are going to be conducted. So the next activity for it is, what we do is we are going to ask students to collect a lot of verbal communication material, verbal written communication material, like leaflets, pamphlets, letters, newspapers, magazines, their own textbooks. These things students are going to collect, and then the students will be divided into groups. Each group will get one of the mode, communication tool, like one will get pamphlets, one will get letters, one will get newspapers, etc. And the students have to explain what is the communication that is being carried out, what does that leaflet mean, what information does it carry, where it can be useful. Now, while you are measuring, you are going to keep those recordings in written, in words. So there you can again talk about verbal communication and its importance. So this is how we are going to talk about uh, merging the topic. So once the instructor is talking about their measurement practical, they are going to also be talking about verbal communication. Now you might say that this is a bit tedious. How can we keep track of so many things? But actually, once you establish the connections, you will be able to understand that half of your work is already being done. You are already talking to the students about the importance of verbal communication. Now you will be talking about it in a streamlined manner. That is the only difference that you will be able to see. Okay. We can see another example, right? Now, food preservation techniques. In this, there is a practical where we introduce the students to the utensils and equipment that is used in cooking. Here, we are going to tie up the topic of personal hygiene. Now, while you're talking about kitchen equipments, you are definitely going to talk about its cleanliness, how you should be clean while handling these things. So, again, it is just a small activity. The trainer will appoint a hygiene monitor. They will explain the importance of personal hygiene. And then the hygiene monitor will keep track that everyone is coming. They are clean enough. They are wearing clean uniforms. Their nails are cut. Their hair are properly tied behind. It in front of the class. So this is how we are going to keep on merging employability skills and practicals together. Yes. Next, please. Next. Yes. So this is so far about our curriculum mapping and overall employability skills integration with multi-skill foundation course. Um, Apart from this, as you have been doing with your other classes, you will be able to you will be soon shared with the uh, self-learning module wherein you are going to learn more about employability skills in detail. So this module that will be shared with you is going to have more details about each and every component that we just spoke about, the five various components about employability skills. And in it, uh, what what should be focused upon, you are going to be shared with videos with a few questions, and then you will be going through that self-assessment module. So I hope you are also looking forward to this assessment. And if you have any queries about uh, this topic or the employability skill component or anything related to the curriculum, we can have a few questions about it.
Meda, should we like take couple of questions?
Yes, yes.
We request audience or participants, if you have any questions or if you like to share any of your experiences, please share it on the chat box. We will wait for 1 or 2 minutes and before we move on to the next topic.
Lalit Mohan,
Lalit
sir,
Mohan
yeah,
raised. Yes.
just requesting you to unmute and
Yes.
you can ask your questions.
Good morning, sir. Sir, your voice is breaking a lot.
You are not audible, sir. Your voice is breaking. There is a lot of noise coming in. We are not able to understand you.
Sir, can you put your questions on the chat box, then we can take it from there?
Yeah.
Yes.
I
In the
request
meantime,
all the participants to reserve your questions regarding modules and assessment. We will answer them at the end of the session.
yes.
Uh,
Meenakshi has been raising her
yeah.
hand. Yes,
So
ma'am.
they are asking what is 7 C's and 3 P's in the communication.
Yes. So, first of all, this was a very quick run through that we've done about the modules. Um, 7 C's are basically clarity, conciseness, how the message can be compact, how the message can be more clear. This is a list of 7 C's that we should take care of while thinking or preparing for our communication. This makes our communication more robust. So, concise is how the message should be short. Clear is even if it is short, it should be clear enough. Right? So, this is a list of 7 C's that has been given under communication skills. And a P is also similar: prepare, plan, and project. It is in similar way. So, prepare your communication beforehand. plan for your communication. So plan for your communication, what you're going to talk, prepare for it as in rehearse for it, and then project or talk or present your communication. So this is about 3 P's. I hope I have explained it enough, Akshi ma'am. Okay, one more question. Yes. Uh, I think it got lost in the chat. Can
Which type of IT skills using in? Um,
entrepreneurship skills? See, for IT skills, in entrepreneur, I mean, because of the pandemic, everyone knows no one was using Zoom or Google Meet before. But in the last year, now we all have become masters of Zoom and Google Meet, right? So similarly, we never know how a technology can be helpful for our business. So instead of uh, printing pamphlets and stuff, you can make digital content and circulate it. You can reach out to more people, or to make your communication more robust, you can have it on quick emails, how your emails should be. All these things can be used under IT skills.
Inakshi, I'm unmuting your mic. You can ask your question.
Thank you, sir. I hope so I'm audible to everybody. Good morning. Good morning, teachers and respected heads over here. Ma'am, one little query that was not related to today's session, but like we have been following up regularly with all the day one modules and the assessment, like even the last one. Now, only mistake that which went by was like we did not register while in the forms for module one. So, like it's not letting us submit the modules now, but the assessments and the YouTube videos and attendance, everything has been followed up. So will we be losing out on the assessments or the certificate or something? Because all the throughout sessions we have been attending and regularly submitting the assessments and everything. Can somebody just guide us a little?
Just drop a mail on CBSE training
Okay,
at
sir.
landahandindia.org.
Okay.
Okay, we'll get back to you.
Okay, sir, can you, it would be really helpful if you could just type that ID for us. I would just take it down.
Yeah, sure.
Thank
We are
you.
going to give information about these modules and assessment at the end.
Okay.
So at that time, I'll paste it.
Sure. Sure, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Over, sir.
Are there any other questions about this particular module? Or else we can move towards the next module that we have for today. Thank you very much for all your questions. Thank you, Maida, for such a wonderful session. You, in given time, you explained it quite nicely. I'll hand it over to Vijaya Tarigopala, who is joining us from Hyderabad, and she'll be covering 2 modules about pedagogy skills. Over to you, Vijaya. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayur. Thank you so much, Medha, first of all, for giving us not just overview, but also details of employability skills and how these employability skills can beautifully woven while teaching a multi-skill foundation course. I request all the participants, so all the, in these sessions, you're just getting an overview of all the topics, but anyways, you will learn through all the self-learning modules by yourself in detail. So just take it as an overview, and please feel free to ask the questions at the end of the presentation maybe, and please reserve your questions related to logistics and attendance and assessment forms towards the end of the session. Yeah, thank you so much. So my name is Vijaya from Lentahan, India. I'm actually feeling very happy to see all of you, to be able to see all of you that you got registered for this course and willing to learn new things for children's education in a way, a better future for all of us. If you're able to, see my screen, there are 4 pictures. by now you must be understanding that there are 4 modules in our course. So there are 4 pictures related to those modules. One related to energy and environment, and second is a workshop in engineering techniques, and third is food processing techniques, and the fourth one is gardening, nursery, and agricultural techniques. And also something written on the screen, which says that integration through vocational pedagogical methods. Yeah. Now, before I move on to the next topic, I'd like to know from each and every one of you, what do you understand by the integration of skills and knowledge? And in your own field of teaching, it can be you may be teaching your science, it can be you may be teaching biology or even physical education. How are you integrating certain other skills apart from the core academical concepts in your classroom? So we will take 1 minute for this. I request everybody to think on this particular question and respond in the chat box. I repeat the question. So we are discussing more on integration through pedagogical methods. So integration, what do you mean by integration? And in your own field of subjects, it can
Yeah,
be
so we
biology.
got some answers,
You
Vijaya.
got answers? Okay,
Yes.
just a second. Yeah. I'm not
Very
able to
well
focus on the
saying,
chat box. Yeah.
combining the life skills along with the main subject.
Okay.
Lalit Mohan Sahu is saying webbing related webbing with the related disciplines,
Disciplines. Yeah.
correlation between the subjects. Uh,
Okay.
Someone is saying practical application along with its concepts.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Application of the concepts in real life. Yeah. Thank you so much for all your responses, especially sharing your experiences. Yes. You already.
Pratisha Dixit is saying that
Yes.
she's teaching work experience subject. With
Okay.
that, she has integrated cooking,
Wow.
Punjabi.
Okay, yeah, that's really creative, sir. Thank you so much for sharing that. Yeah, I think most of you know the crux of integration of other certain skills through your own subjects. But in this particular model, I like to introduce all of you to other certain aspects of pedagogy. Thanks to Meda that she already covered a few topics of employability skills. But as you all know, and as all of us keep discussing, especially in this in the present times, that is it education only for employment, like going further for children, is it only for employment, or is education helping children to develop themselves holistically, you know uh, so that they'll use certain skills and knowledge concepts in their own daily lives, not just for the employment but also in their own life skills. Yes. So I like to talk about before moving on to the topic, I'll briefly give what are the other certain knowledge concepts and skills we will try to integrate through this course. Yeah. So this is the third module. By now, you must be you must have understood that multi-skill foundation course not just give good exposure on hands-on or technical skills, but it actually demands children to learn in a different way, so in a way teachers also should learn how teachers also should learn to teach them in a different way, to facilitate those learning experiences in a different way beyond chalk and duster, or maybe in a classroom setup, because most of the things are interconnected. So as the multi-skill foundation course, the name suggests itself, it has many interconnections, especially knowledge concepts such as gender, and children will be able to learn different professions around them, and helping them imagine how they can transition the school education to maybe future in their future different other professions, and other important topics like ecology and basic entrepreneurial skills also. So we will, like, going forward, we'll see how certain these concepts and skills can be integrated really well through a different pedagogical methods, which we are calling it as vocational pedagogy or alternative pedagogy or integrated pedagogy. We'll see through it. Yeah, so in the next few minutes, we will be discussing about the next topic, that is positive learning environment. And another topic would be on student engagement and participation. And the third topic would be lesson planning for multi-skill foundation course. And here, my colleague Anjali will join us to touch upon the overview of lesson planning. And lastly, we will close the session with the instructions of your own self-learning module and assessments and other further queries that you have. Yeah. So we'll quickly move on to the next topic, that is positive learning environment. So in this particular session, we will learn the importance and impacts of creating positive learning environment, and also having a basic understanding of how we can create such positive learning environment in virtual and physical classrooms. So here, when I'm referring to the classroom, it need not be just physical setup, or maybe just a Zoom or a Google Meet or Google Classrooms, but also it can be much related to WhatsApp groups as well, because groups are also some kind of environments and spaces where students and teachers engage and interact continuously. So I think if you're looking at the screen now, the screen is full of challenges commonly taken from physical classroom as well as virtual classroom, especially since 1.5 years, all the teachers across the world are struggling to, adapt to the new revolution of online education. They're trying to upskill themselves with the ICT and different technological related tools. And basically, in both virtual and physical classroom, we found out that teachers are feeling difficult to engage with each and every student, and especially in virtual classroom, it's very difficult to engage with everybody. And we're not able to understand what level students are learning, what exactly they are learning, even though we are assessing them through CCE pattern or formative or summative assessments. And to in a very small gist, children are being in that pressure to learn, study, and to get those marks, to because the societal pressures are there. And even teachers also have, I know the teachers also have like certain pressures to finish the syllabus, to reach out to and connect with students. Overall, children and students and teachers are actually missing the joy of learning and teaching and engaging with the students. So we miss the joy of learning, both teachers and students. So through certain pedagogical aspects and through certain practices, we'll see how can we address at least a few challenges going forward. Yeah. So there's a question here on the screen. It says that, what do you imagine when you think about positive learning environment? So I request, maybe, just close your eyes, or maybe even if you don't close your eyes, what do you imagine? Which picture comes into your mind when you think about positive learning environment? Uh, Let me check the chat box. I request everybody to just, okay, happiness. Thank you so much for responding. Yeah, happiness, happy classes, interactive sessions with students, joyful learning, greenery, happy faces, good interaction, safe and energetic, activity-based learning, emotional security, yes, enjoying, yes, satisfaction even for teacher, yes. When children are very active, very knowledgeable. Thank you so much. I think you got the picture, you got the right imaginative picture there. Okay, so we'll see. Thank you for the responses for those, especially related to positive learning environment. Now we'll see how it actually looks, and how we, all of us, benefit, not just teachers, but also children, how we benefit through creating positive learning environment. Yeah. So if you could see the screen, there are some benefits that we get through by creating positive learning environment. One such aspect could be increasing curiosity. Most of you responded that very engaging and active classroom. I think when positive learning environment is created, students naturally ask questions because they don't know. They want to know things. So they naturally, the curiosity follows. And analytical reasoning, we're stressing especially on analytical reasoning because we're saying in front that multi-skill foundation course also help their academical concepts to be strong, to retain their concepts really well. So it also helps analytical reasoning, and they start asking questions, they start asking like reasons for certain concept. And second thing is self learners, they become self learners. Like we don't have to, like teachers, we don't have to like keep following up with the children and like keep pushing them to learn, study. But I think that naturally the space the space creates children to become the self learners. And another aspect is it actually enables peer learning and collaborative learning, right? When there is a space, when there is no judgment or when there is no comparison, like from students to students, they will naturally help each other. They want to share their knowledge and skills with their peers, with their friends. So naturally, collaborative learning will definitely help. And the last one important thing I would really stress on this particular aspect is collective learning responsibility. Even if you look at the picture here, you're, in when you're performing a practical with the students, uh, so the teacher does the teacher does the demonstration first. Yes, first after doing the demonstration, then the activity can be performed by the students, and together the students and teacher will do it together, and maybe later the students can perform those activities by themselves. So they're becoming independent both in knowledge as well as skills. So in learning, in collective learning responsibility, it says that it's not just teacher is the sole responsible person for the entire class learning, but also students should also be the responsible people for their own learning. So as a teacher, you're setting up a classroom culture in such a way that telling the entire class that all of us are equally responsible and accountable for the entire class learning. So that message actually gives students that, okay, I'm not just focusing on my learning, but also in a group. If I'm in a group, I should be able to help my fellow mate, or share my knowledge with the other students. Yes, so this is mainly about collective learning responsibility. We'll see what are the other few impacts of creating positive learning environment. So as I mentioned, that natural flow of learning and creativity evolves, and expression, students will be able to express in their own forms. I know we stress more on writing. I think apart from writing, they should be able to express in different forms. And there's a deep learning, again, like not just for exams, but for the joy of knowing things and exploring them. I think this particular course definitely give that joy for students because they keep exploring while performing the activities. They enjoy experimenting with certain things. So another important aspect is strong relationship between teacher and students, and also among students, because the right relationship dynamics will definitely enable and prosper that peer learning and collaboration learning will grow. And after all these impacts, I think no doubt attendance and learning outcomes, which all of us really focus on, will definitely follow naturally, right? So we'll quickly move on to a certain practices that are mentioned in the self-learning module. So when you go through the self-learning module, you will learn more in detail, but I'll just give you an overview of certain practices. So first we'll talk about building classroom culture and how certain practices help that classroom culture be built. So first is culture of making mistakes and asking questions, right? If we allow students to just make mistakes, but again referring to this particular topic, teachers should be able to guide students, especially in terms of safety and precautions, because certain practicals are should be performed in the presence of teachers. So that culture should be built, and there's a safe space to express and ask openly any kind of doubts, because we're trying to not just limit our discussions or learning just to the topic, but also we're trying to connect to different other aspects. Maybe sometimes it gets personal experiences related to gender, or it can be related to dignity of labor. So that safe space definitely allows everybody, both teacher and children, to become vulnerable and share their own personal experiences and stories. And especially on third point, well-being circles and culture circles, one-on-one conversations. And I think most of you are dealing with adolescent children, right? And adolescent children have different, they go through a variety of emotions, and they won't be able to express really well openly in the classrooms. So maybe one-on-one conversations definitely help. Having the culture circle, setting up a culture circle, help not just teacher understanding students' background and context, but also each student will be able to understand their own friends' context as well. Yeah, that actually builds good bonding and relationships. As I talked about responsibility, it's a collective, and the ownership is with everybody, not just on the teacher. Second such practice is about ensuring classroom talk and engagement, and there are certain practices that how certain practices increases classroom talk and engagement. One such is group activity. The core aspect of performing MSF multi-skill foundation course activities is mainly perform in the groups, and discussions, especially on the reasoning concepts of academic related concepts, and also other interrelated concepts such as gender, ecology, other different knowledge aspects, as I mentioned earlier. And definitely peer learning definitely help them engage really well. And I think most of you also learned different methods like flipped classrooms and blended learning, especially since 1.5 years, because all of us are engaging on online education. So we just give a certain aspect or maybe a small related activities for for the students to do, and then they come back and join the online space or virtual classroom so that they have a discussion on it. So that can be a flipped classroom and a blended learning module. And the third very important thing is on a positive classroom culture is joy. As I mentioned earlier in my earlier slides, that all of us actually missing the joy of learning and teaching. I think sometimes it's okay to create such spaces for games, energizers, and sharing personal stories. I think through personal stories, storytelling is a powerful tool to learn and know about each other really well. And casual and informal spaces definitely will give way for more fun and expression. So if you're looking at a picture right on the screen, there are a few students most of the students actually love performing activities related to food processing and techniques. So here a few students actually performed they prepared jam. So they just have fun and enjoy all, like performing all the activities as part of most of the activities as part of the course. So I'll take a pause. So this is just an overview of positive learning environment, and you will actually learn in detail in the self learning module. But I'll take a pause for next like 1 to 2 minutes. If you have any questions, if you want to share any of your experiences, please share it on your chat box. Like after 2 or 3 minutes, we'll move on to the next topic. Thank you, Mariamal. Yes, Surabhi, yes. Mayu, do you want to unmute Surabhi because she wanted to ask a question? Hello. Yes, Surabhi. Yes.
So
Yes, Surabhi.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am. Please.
Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, sorry. Good afternoon, everyone. I just want to ask one thing, ma'am, that
Yes.
nowadays we are feeling like we are teaching online, and you people, you were saying all the positive learning factors which can enhance the learning.
Yes.
So my question is that, ma'am, how we can just um, motivate students to learn more, like in online the situation is quite different, means they are studying at home, like unlike when we were teaching physically, the
Yes.
scenario is quite different. So how we can just enhance their learning? Even if they are sitting at home, there are a lot of distracting factors they have at their home. So how we can just neglect those factors and motivate students to just learn, or just keep on learning more and more?
Thank you for the question. I know I
Thank you, ma'am.
understand totally that online education is very struggling and also very exhaustive for teachers and students. I think setting a classroom culture even on virtual spaces, right? I think before the next academic year starts, maybe it'll be really helpful for the teachers and students if we set the classroom culture first. Understanding that classroom culture should also be set, also understanding from the students point of view, because as you said, ma'am, if students are really struggling at home, maybe their own personal problems, they won't be able to concentrate really well on their learning. So maybe understanding one-on-one way, that also could help. Yeah. If anybody wants to add to Surbhi ma'am's question,
Yeah, I think
please.
when we are conducting any online session, it is also important that the participant should feel.
On certain norms of the culture, I think that definitely will help in gradually maybe building a good positive culture. I know there are a lot of limitations in the virtual spaces, but the consistent efforts will definitely maybe gradually will take us to a positive learning environment. Yeah. But thank you for your questions as well. Asking again, as I said, asking questions is really important for our learning. So I hope also encourage students to ask questions, even if it is a silly or something. That space should be given to students to ask. When there is no question, it means that there is no learning. Yeah. Thank you so much for your responses and also your questions. We will move on to the next topic now. Just a second. Yeah. So our next topic is student engagement and participation, and also maybe covering a few questions that you might have from the previous topic. So as we learned about creating positive learning environment, so first step is setting the classroom culture through norms, different norms, and that too norms should be collective norms. If the norms are just set and enforced by the teacher itself, then maybe students might not be agreed and they won't be able to agree to the norms, like intentionally or maybe unintentionally. So if it is a collective culture forming, then they might be very good student engagement and participation. So in this particular topic, we will be able to we will learn the importance and impacts of enabling student engagement and participation, and also have a basic understanding of, again, we will learn a certain practices of how we can enable student engagement and participation in virtual and physical classroom. Okay, there are some pictures. There'll be some pictures coming up on the screen. So please look at the screen, and I request everybody to to answer on the chat box. So the first picture is, you can see on the screen. There's a person there, and so what does the picture say? Plan. Okay. Look at these expressions also. Failed plan. Okay, failed plan. Improper plan. Yes. Thank you for responses. Cleaning. Okay. Stressful plan gone for a toss. Okay. Here goes the next picture. This is the second picture. What does the second picture say? No engagement. Yes. Rashmi ji rightly said no engagement. No plan and communication. Everyone in their own world. Yes. Everyone is in their own world. Chaos in class. And the third picture. Third picture. What does the third picture say? Not interested, distracted class, no interest, boring. Yes, rightly pointed out. Okay, now we'll move on to the other few pictures. What does these two pictures say? I'm just looking at the chat box. Hands-on experience, involved classes, very engaging, group work, self-learning. So you mean students are participation? Yes, they're participating, learning by doing. Curiosity, yes. Especially the second picture, students are keenly observing what's going on with the calf. Yes, thank you so much. So we will see. I think most of you covered through your responses what how we can imagine or what a picture can be which is related to student engagement participation. So we'll see why student engagement participation is needed, and going forward, we'll see how we can create, how we can enable student engagement participation. And most of the things are so applicable to positive learning environment, because unless until there is no positive learning environment, there won't be good student engagement. So that's a flow, sequential manner. So as I mentioned a few points earlier, it increases natural flow of learning, builds a good culture of deep engagement, just for the joy of learning and good relationship. And again, no doubt, attendance and learning outcomes will follow. So now we'll look into a few practices, and especially in the self-learning module, you will learn more in detail. I'm saying like you will learn more in detail, but here I'll just give you an overview of just touching upon the few practices, how we can increase the student engagement in the classrooms. So we can increase the student engagement by, as a teacher, I should have a control on the flow of my class, and maybe to increase the student engagement, maybe they should perform the activities or having those discussions in groups, and allocating or delegating a few tasks, tasks related to the activity, or it can be any kind of classroom related activity. And how will I get my students interested and curious? Yes, I think Surbi ma'am asked that students are not really interested. How can we get them interested, especially in the virtual classrooms? And we also discussed about creating a positive and safe classroom in the previous topic. Yeah. So this is one such practice, which is called like classroom management. So before any teacher starts the lesson on the board or having a interaction with the students should be able to sit actually properly in their seating arrangement, ready to listen to you. If they're not ready to listen, if the students are in a very destructive, having a destructive class, mostly generally we see a destructive class could be related to primary sections or maybe middle schools, may not be more not related to the secondary classes. But still, even if you have a destructive class, you're not able to start off with the class both in virtual and physical spaces, this behavior management cycle definitely will help you to set the behavior of children, not just on the same day. But again, I'm saying this is not just one day work or one day investment. We will not be able to create and see the magic on just one day, but it's with the consistent effort. You will see what are the other sequential practices, especially under the BMC cycle in the learning self-learning module. And filling to do, they still have to wait for the other two groups to finish the activity. So you have to fill the dead time, maybe by giving their quick writing notes or asking them to think about another related connected topic, or maybe just clean up their area. So try to engage them even if they finish their own activity. So that's mainly related to filling their dead time. Sorry. Yeah. So second such practice is capturing student attention, increasing the curiosity and critical thinking. Just, yeah. Opening the class, opening the session with a hook. So hook is something, getting their attention, capturing their attention, like how a fisherman hooks the fish. So similar to that, how we can get their attention before the class begins, before we introduce a new topic to the students, how we can get their attention. Maybe you can start off with a personal story related to the topic. It could be, for example, if it is a series and parallel circuit, like that particular activity you are engaging with the students on that day, then you can start off with the story that, okay, for example, if it is a Diwali, what kind of fairy lights are are bought? If it is are the fairy lights you know is it being done in a series or parallel? So something related to like cook up a story or maybe create a story to start off the class, and asking good questions. So what are good questions? Good questions are not something which are close ended questions which have just yes or no, but open ended questions related to the topic. It can be if the activity for example, if the activity is related to composting or waste segregation, ask them that okay, we are learning about composting, but do you think all of us are doing in our schools or at home? So it's a open ended question. They will start thinking, why, what are the challenges related to it, why all of us are not really doing the segregation. So open, make the questions really open. And third thing is allowing think and wait time. So if you pose any question for discussion and also maybe thinking, let them have their time to get back to you with the responses, because some students may take some time, some students may quickly answer to you. So that's more about allowing think and wait time. Okay, this is like very, very important thing, especially with respect to multi-skill foundation course. So apart from the assessment, daily assessments that you plan as part of your lesson planning, we also give students extended projects. So more related to project-based learning, so that children will learn a lot through project-based learning and problem-based learning. Something related to, we have something like community work. We ask students to identify a problem in their own community. It can be in their neighborhood, or it can be in the school premises, or at home, even at home. For example, they can start a kitchen garden. Most of the schools, especially residential schools, have their own kitchen garden. It's more like a community work, so that at least some part of the produce will go to the school kitchen. So again, next aspect is ideas to action. So when students are identifying a particular problem, how to solve that problem, what kind of ideas they can get, what is the process to what is the process that they can get a solution, what are the different design thinking principles that they can apply to reach to a particular solution. So all these things can be very well learned through a project based learning. For example, if you can see in the second picture, students are actually they're actually designing something related to waste segregation in their schools, doing like dry waste and in some of the skills in the beginning of the session about entrepreneurial skills and community mobilization skills. If you can see in the first picture, children are actually selling a few items to the visitors and maybe the school related stakeholders. So as students create a few products as part of this course, it can be related to food processing, maybe some pickles or jam making, or other products related to workshop and engineering and energy environment. They actually put up a stall in their schools. They sell it as part of their exhibition or science fairs. So that's how they learn. For example, if it is a jam making, they learn how to find a pricing for the product. They also find a market survey. How is my product really? Can I sell this product at this particular price to the outside people? And also packaging. How the packaging can be done very well in aligned with the eco-friendly packaging, not using a plastic. So all these concepts are really especially entrepreneurial skills can be well in tuned with the project based learning. And community mobilizations, if you look at the second picture, students made beautiful posters to create awareness on skill education, how skill education is really important as part of our daily learning. And not just on skill education, students actually created awareness on no plastic usage and health and nutrition, especially in the COVID times. So I'm not just referring to the physical setup, but even in virtual classrooms, students have designed digital content and digital posters to creating awareness in their own neighborhoods, or even sometimes using social media, but again restricting certain aspects of social media to children also. And there are something like student portfolios. They can create their own student portfolios throughout the year in their own different manners. That's how we allow them to explore their creativity, and documentation related skills can be improved through student portfolios. So I'll quickly move on to the next few slides. So if you can if you can see on the screen, it's mentioned that integration is a way forward. Even national education policy also very much it talks about integration, how we can integrate different skills and knowledge concepts as part of our education. So I think we mentioned what are different kinds of knowledge and skills that can be integrated to certain modules. I'm not going to read it out, but just leaving this particular slide for some time so that you can go through the points mentioned on the slide. But all these knowledge and skills are very, very important, right? Have breaking their gender biases, helping children know why there is unequal participation of male and female in labor market, especially skills related to workshop and engineering techniques. And yes, I'll quickly move on to the next slide because we are running short of time. Yeah. So these are some of the knowledge and skills related to energy and environment, gardening, nursery, and agricultural techniques. So we can ask students to track and analyze the energy consumption at school and steps to energy conservation at home, not just like thinking about school or but at home. How can they do such projects? Okay, so I'll take a pause here because there's another session by Anjali after this on lesson planning. So we will take quickly, we'll take like 1 minute time. And please, if you have any questions related to only this, please refrain your questions related to attendance or assessment related questions towards the end of it. Just for the interest of time, if you have any questions related to this particular topic, please raise your hands or type it in the chat box. Thank you. We will wait for a few seconds. If there are no questions, then we can move on to the next topic. Or you can also share if there is anything learned, like new things that you have learned, even those things can also be shared in the chat box. Yeah. It's almost like check for understanding. So I'm just checking whether most of you have understood or is my screen visible?
Yes, okay. Thank you, Vijaya. Thank you, Vijaya, for sharing about the importance of positive learning environment and how create student engagement can be enabled, especially through multi-skill foundation course. So now, after having understood about different approaches, let's see how can we put those different approaches of learning experience into action. I am Anjali from Landahan, India, and I will take you all through lesson planning in the next few minutes. Next, Vijaya. Yes. For the lesson planning session, we have 3 objectives. First, introduction to lesson planning. What is lesson planning and why this is important? Second, listing all the key elements involved in the lesson planning. And the third objective is to know the timings and instruction for self-learning module and the assessment. Next, Vijaya. Yes, thank you. Before moving on the lesson planning concept and elements, let's listen to one story. For that, I invite everyone to pay attention to the screen as I read the story. At the end, there will be a couple of questions based on this story. So, the story is: 3 fish lived in a pond. Their name were called plan ahead fish, think fast fish, wait and see fish. One day they heard a fisherman say that he was going to cast his net in their pond the next day. Next picture. Plan ahead fish said, I am swimming down the river tonight. Think fast fish said, I am sure I will come up with a plan. Wait and see fish lazily said, oh, I just can't think about it now. Next. When the fisherman cast his nets, plan ahead fish was long gone, but think fast and wait and see fish were caught. Think fast fish fish was quickly rolled his belly up and pretended to be dead. Oh, this fish is not good, said the fisherman and threw him safely back into the river. But wait and see fish ended up in the fish market. So, next picture. Yes. So, I hope you all heard this story. There are two questions for you. First is, what do you think was the difference between the three fish? And second question is, which fish would you like to be? So, for this, I'm requesting to everyone, write down your answer on the chat box. Pre-planning, yes. Think fast, okay. Thank you, sir. Plan ahead, yes, yes. You like first one, it mean plan ahead. Okay. Okay. Yes, thank you for the responses. Yes. So most of you have answered that you would like to be the fish called plan ahead, right? So you can understand the importance of planning with one small example. When we go shopping, we make a list of things to buy, right? The list reminds us what to buy when we visit the shop without the wasting time. And we also, we are not buying unnecessary things if we have some list. So similarly, similarly, before entering the class, we have we also have preparing a lesson plan for our daily classes, right? The lesson plan enhances teachers' learning experience and creates a good learning environment for the students also. It gives a clear plan picture before we start the session. I have jotted down some teachers and students learning experience here. So for the teachers, first, smooth functioning of the classroom. Second, makes teaching easy. Third, classroom management is simple. For the student, it creates a joyful classroom environment. Next, Vijaya. Yes, thank you. So, you all are well aware about the lesson planning, right? Let's understand how the lesson planning is done for the multi-skill foundation course. Typically, the lesson plan will have three parts. First part, prepare that have to be done by the teacher before starting the practical. Second, method to be used for the actual execution of the practical and flow of the session. And the third, keep some time aside after the session for self-reflection. Next, Vijaya, thank you. Now let's talk about the preparation that teacher have to be do before going to the class. Yes, thank you. Teacher needs to arrange tool required for the demonstration. Prepare the list of all raw materials required and the quantity based on number of students. For tools, you need to check whether all the tools are working or not. There are sufficient tools for the student or not. Raw materials are required or not. And the third one is all the tools are labeled properly or not. This is a basic things we have to clear before going in the classroom. Next. Yes, thank you. Safety is very important while handling the tools. You have already observed that in the previous session conducted by the master trainers, as tools have sharp edges, and it is highly possibility that a student may get injured if they do not take precautions, right? So, you can also put up the safety poster on the classroom walls where the student can read the instruction. Task distribution and student group formation is another important aspect of preparation of the lesson planning. Sitting arrangement needs to be decided beforehand. Tasks should be divided based on the number of students and time available to ensure all students are engaged in the task. Also, sometimes having a mixed gender group will help them to work with the opposite gender without discomfort. So another important aspect of the preparation of the lesson planning is having an objective for the session. To set an objective of the everyday class is essential. The objective should be measurable. Objective statement should have written down in the following format. You can see in the PPT also, and it includes two components. Basically, it includes two components. First, skill and knowledge. So here you can see the example of food processing technique unit, which was already explained by the Kunal sir. So a student will be able to demonstrate various steps involved in food preservation technique by using sugar. So here demonstration is a skill, and steps involved in food preservation technique is a knowledge. So we can ensure that these different skills can be written and planned with objective statements. Yes, thank you.
Just a second, sorry to interrupt you.
Yes.
I request all the participants to be patient because we are going to end the session in next 10 minutes. So please bear with us because we got few questions. Our last session got extended. So bear with us for 10 more minutes and we will be at the end of the session. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Mayur, for the information. So yes, now moving ahead to another component of the lesson planning preparation. It is about what knowledge students are expected to gain after practical, and it can be name of the tools, their uses and their application, and what is the concept behind this application. And you can also give linkage of particular knowledge point to industrial applications. Yes, next. Yes, thank you. It is important that students understand why they are learning particular practical. What is its real life application and relevance? Asking why will take them towards holistic education and clear concept understanding. For example, while performing the carpentry practical, they will learn application of the mathematical concept and formulae. So next. So yes, so far we understood what has to be covered before the class while lesson planning. Now let's understand how to plan actual execution. Yes, in the execution, first we have to prepare some questions related to the previous class topics. You can ask this question in any format like MCQ or short questions. It will help you understand student learning outcomes and provide you with a good starting point to begin your class. It will also help the student to link the concept learned in the previous classes. Yes, thank you. How do you capture your students and get their attention to the class to the new topic, right? And this is a very big question in front of us. So you can start your topic with some videos, picture, or any other short stories. This builds student curiosity and make the topic fun and engaging. A brief introduction to the topic and capture student attention and interest. You have to keep in mind that hook activity cannot exceed more than 3 minutes. And the next. So closing is an important part of the class, as a student learn a lot of things, and maybe not in a maybe in a scattered way, right? So debriefing, summarizing, and closing the discussion may help them consolidate and process the new information and skill learned to make it meaningful at the end. You can also request any student to present their learning in front of the class. It helps them to enhance their communication skills also. One of the very important and tested tool we have in the use of flowchart for closing. So flowchart is a graphical representation of the summarizing all the learning and activity. You can see in the picture that how pot filling practical is summarized in the flowchart. Yes, next, thank you. After summarizing the topic, we will take a short assessment of the student. Assessment is a tool to understand the learning of the student on the planned activities. It will help teachers know how students get to learn from the class and improve based on the assessment. Assessment could not be conducted in a different ways, like MCQs, simple true or false questions, or long or open-ended questions. Or student may be asked to identify tools or do not certain procedures, or do certain procedures which help a student to reflect on and recall their learnings also. Yes, so based on the assessment, you can also design or create some assignment or homework for your students. It gives the students space to practice their learning. A small group or individual project could be given. So example, do a survey of your neighborhood of how many households segregate waste at home and why not. So another, as we see teaching as a very continuous process and continuous learning process. So why should the teacher do reflection after the class? So yes, in the okay. Okay, reflection of the class will allow teacher to understand and get a sense of how students were engaged in the class, and based on the students' questions, teachers can understand any challenges faced by student. And the another thing is, as a teacher to see students' progression in the journey. In the journey of their own learning, right, and make their progression visible to the students. Student trackers, portfolio, student journals can be introduced for the students also. It will help them know their learning and progression towards the learning outcome and activities that are performed. Let's have a quick summary of the topic of all the lesson plan. There are three components. There are three components of the multi-skill lesson planning. In the first component, teacher preparation, as we discussed about, tools, raw material, safety precautions, objective, task distribution, and knowledge key points. The second component, teacher execution, we discussed about. Just a second, I think, yes, screen is visible. We discussed about revision, hook, closing, assessment, and homework. And the third component of our lesson planning is teacher reflection. We discussed about teacher journal and tracking student progress. So let's take a small pause here. And if you have any question or any doubt and you need any clarification, please put the question in the chat box.
Thank you, Anjali, for that wonderful overview on the lesson planning, especially in detail. I request all the participants. I hope you concentrated on the screen and listened to Anjali. If you have any questions or any clarifications on the lesson plan, how it could be different for multi-skill foundation course, you can please put your questions on the chat box. We'll quickly wait for a few seconds to take the questions. We're really sorry for the slight delay because we've started a little late at 11:10 maybe. Thank you everyone for waiting with patience. Rashmi ji has raised her hand. Jatin, can we unmute her? Rashmi ma'am.
Yes, Vijay, I'm doing that.
Yes. Yeah.
Rashmi, what's the surname?
Rashmi Jajo.
Okay, I have sent unmute request.
Good afternoon, all of you.
Good
Sir,
afternoon.
ma'am, I have one question. We are doing this all the modules, but the questions there is no space for the answer. So we are emailing you. So this is correct, or we are only the assessment marks will be given?
Okay, so this question is related to the form, right? Okay.
Vijay, let me answer this question.
Yes.
So, ma'am, when you are accessing the modules, there are some subjective questions at that. So these questions are just for your summarizing of your learnings, and you don't have to email us the answers of these questions. Only the assessment part will be, considered for any sort of certification or anything else. So please don't worry about the subjective questions which are there at the end of the modules. And only the assessment link that will be open after 48 hours of this training will be considered.
Thank you, Jatin, for responding. Any other questions, especially related to this particular topic, lesson planning? We will quickly move on to the the topic which everybody is waiting, for you, because you have a lot of questions on the assessment forms. So we can discuss that in next couple of minutes. Okay, we will then take this cue as you won't have questions related to this topic. So, okay, we will.
Vijay, one
Yeah.
Shipra Pandey ma'am has raised hand. I am sending unmute request.
Yes, please.
Shipra Pandey ma'am, you can unmute.
Hello, ma'am. Are you able to unmute yourself?
I think Vijaya will.
We move on to the next one.
We can move ahead to the next part. We'll cover it and then hand it over to me. I'll just give closing instructions about all the queries.
Yes, thank you. Yeah. Yes. So the previous modules, we just through all the topics we have given overview of all the topics, especially related to today's module. I hope you have at least got good understanding and overview of that. So moving on to how you can actually access these self-learning modules and do assessment. We'll quickly, if you're able to see the screen.
Hello. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Mrs. Shipra Pandey.
Yes, ma'am. Please.
Good afternoon, sir. This is Mr. Shipra Pandey here. Sir, I just want one request from you. Please extend the access for Module 2. Due to some technical issue, there are so many teachers of ours who are not able to complete that Module 2. So if it is possible, you to please extend that access.
Sure, ma'am. We'll answer your query at the end of
I hope, sir, you can hear me.
We can hear you. So I'll give an answer in a short while. Okay, after Vijaya explains all the
Miss
steps.
Anjali Pandey, can you hear me, ma'am?
Shipra ma'am, we can hear you.
Can you hear us, ma'am? Shipra ma'am, can you hear us?
Hello, ma'am. Hello, ma'am. This is Shipra Pandey here. I just want that please extend the module 2nd, if it is possible.
Ma'am, we can hear you. We'll answer your question in a short while. Am I audible to you, ma'am? Hello?
Sir, I can't hear you.
Can others hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, you are audible. I think there is some issues at
earphones.
Shipra ma'am's end.
Okay, we'll answer her question at the end. We have got her question. Vijay, you please
Yeah.
continue
Yes.
with the steps
Thank
to
you.
complete
Thank
the
you,
module.
Mayur.
Yeah.
Yes. I'll quickly, move through the slides. If you can see on the slide, especially today's module, pedagogy and employability skills related module, you will be, you can access all the 4 links. That is, each topic has each link: lesson planning, positive learning, positive classroom, learning environment, student engagement, and fourth one is employability skills. So you have each specific form for each particular topic. So you will be able to access this until Wednesday, July 7th, 12:30 p.m. And post that, assessment links on this particular third module will be opening. So assessment will be combined related to all the four topics. So there are no specific assessment form for each topic. So just be make sure of it. And assessment module link will be open until Thursday, July 8th. That is midnight, 12:30 a.m. So these are the regular instructions as you kept seeing in all the modules. So please fill your ID clearly. If you're not able to access it, please write an email to CBSE training. The email will be shared with you all at the end. So these are the timelines. So to access the self-learning module, you'll be getting like 48 hours, and post that, assessment link will be open for 12 hours. And please make sure that you match your details, the personal details or whatever details you're entering, matching with the training content modules. Yes, the assessment will be, you should be able to complete within 12 hours of your beginning of your assessment. Yes, Mayur, would you like to share any other details or address a few queries?
Yes. Thanks, Vijaya. So let me answer all the queries one by one. For assessment, many of the participants have requested to open access to module 1 and assessment for the module 1. So for module 1, we have given 48 hours. And for assessment, we had given 12 hours to finish it. It was mentioned in CBSE's notification, but even after last session, when some people requested us to extend the time, we had extended the assessment time for 6 hours, and the assessment for module 1 was kept open for additional 6 hours. Many people could finish their assessment in that time. But now, since we have already given an extension to module 1, now we will not be opening it again because of all the technical issues that we'll face out because of it. For module 2, many people said that because of some network issue, they face certain problems. So we are going to keep module 2 open with module 2 assessment for next 6 hours. So today by 8 p.m. You can go through the modules and give assessment. So we are again reopening the links for module 2 only, not for module 1, because we had already given extension for it before. Now we can go back and do it again. For module 3, the practical assessment will be in your assessment question, but I'm just giving you what it will be. So because it is a pedagogy module, we don't have any practical as such, but you are going to write a case study about application of any of the concept that you will learn in the self-learning module in this particular section. So as a part of assessment, you have to write a case study about a student or your classroom where you can apply the principles that you have learned in the module. So that will be the practical question. All the scores will be shared with you after once you complete all 3 assessments. Then we'll be sharing the scores. remember that you have to score 50%, at least 50% in the assessment, which is based on the self-learning module itself. So I request you to kindly go through the self-learning module carefully, because questions will be asked only based on the videos and theory that you are going to learn in that module. Thank you very much. I think I have answered questions regarding the modules, assessment, and also the marks. If there are any other questions which are...
Mayur, there is one more question regarding the scores of Module 1 assessment.
Yeah. Scores for Module 1 assessments, I think they are visible now. You can check it. Bimal, we have already shared it, right, with everyone? We will unmute you, Rashmi ma'am. Just hold on for a minute. Bimal, are you there? Okay, we'll get back to you with the answer.
I'm asking Bimal to unmute.
Yeah,
Bimal,
you can unmute.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Please repeat.
So Bimal, our assessment of Module 1, now the scores are visible, right?
Yes, Mayur.
Okay, how to access those scores?
We have to share from here.
Okay. We'll again share it once on their email IDs, right?
Yes.
So you will get the scores for Module 1 in your email IDs itself. Jatin, can you unmute the participants who have raised their hands?
Okay, I'm doing it.
Mayur, many questions regarding certification.
Yeah, the certification will be like it is mentioned in the notification also. When you complete all 3 modules and the last session that is on the 8th, today is the 5th. So on 8th, we have a session on program implementation, which will cover aspects of program implementation in the multi-skill. Once you have attended that session, after you complete the assessment for all 3 modules, if you are passed in all 3 modules in the assessments, you will get that certification from CBSE.
Okay, I am unmuting Miss Alaknanda.
Yes.
Ma'am, you can unmute him.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon, everyone. Yes, sir. Sir, actually, my question is about practical of today's session. So, actually, for that, what exactly we have to do, actually, so that I want to know.
Yes. So, you have understood the 3 concepts today, right? Employability skills.
Yes, sir.
Under pedagogy, you understood positive classroom environment, student engagement, and lesson plan, right? So, these 4 things were covered today. Based on that, now you are going to do the self-learning module through Google Forms. And after doing that, you have to think about your classroom environment and take a situation or a case study from your class with any particular student. No, you don't have to mention the name of the student, but you can take example of the student and how you will use these techniques to address the issue of your class.
Okay, it means we just have to imagine and we have to write the situation.
Case study, yes. So basically, you have to write a case study. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Case study, and that we have to imagine how we are going to implement all these. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Correct.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I am unmuting Sujoy Das. Please unmute.
Happy afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir. Happy afternoon.
Sir, I have made one mistake while writing the attendance sheet today. Instead of writing my contact number, in that place I had written the school affiliation number. Will that be a problem?
What's your name, sir?
Sujoy Das. SUJOYDAS.
We will write an email ID in the chat box. You can just email this particular what affiliation number you have written. We'll cross check it and will modify it. Okay, no problem.
Okay, and one more thing, in the first module, also
Yes.
I made one mistake that I have two email IDs. I've written by mistake. I've written the another email ID.
Okay.
So what I did, I have rectified it by using another phone.
No, sir. The problem is you have to use the same email ID and number for all three modules. That is why we are repeating this instruction after every session, because we cannot go back and do anything. I mean, change that setting in the form. That is how the forms were designed. That is why we are repeating the instructions. It is also in a written instruction of CBSE. So we won't be able to do, because there are 8,000 participants. If we start going back and correcting it, we'll not be able to finish that at all.
Okay,
right?
sir, but I have taken all the tests that were there. I have taken all the tests. Just one mistake I had made while writing the email ID.
In that case, sir, we are going to compare it with how many modules you have completed. And if there is only one module where you have made a mistake, then that will be considered.
Okay, sir. And sir, today in this session, you will share the email ID where I can send my...
Yes.
Okay.
Jatin sir will be writing it in the chat box.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other question?
I'm unmuting Rashmi ma'am, Rashmi Biawar ma'am.
Okay.
So we'll take this last question and then we will close.
Okay. Any other questions in the chat box or on YouTube channel?
It's mostly related to certificates, Mayur.
Yeah. So those who are saying that we are losing our certificate because we could not click on the module 1 link, that is why the instructions were so explicit that you need to be careful while filling up your information, because forms are designed that way. It is mentioned in the notification also. Like I said, if you have only made one mistake, that we'll understand in the comparison. We'll try to rectify it, but we can't do it if you have made multiple mistakes, because number of participants is close to 8,000.
Good afternoon. Shall I start?
Yes.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for giving very comprehensive information, that too in such a compact module. Sir, I would like to ask that you spoke about implementation of this in schools. So in the next module, implementation, like how to approach CBSE, how to give the details, all these things will be covered in the next module?
So next on 8th day orientation session, we have invited CBSE chairman also for the session. Hopefully he'll be able to join. Otherwise, the joint secretary and deputy secretary ma'am, they'll be answering all the queries about how to apply for this particular course, what is the process, how schools can approach CBSE. So everything will be addressed in the last module.
Okay, that's all. That is because though the information is with us now, but when I asked this question earlier also, but then I got a reply that you go to the website, go to the manual, but manual is very comprehensive, containing 200 pages.
Okay.
So then probably I think most of the my queries will be addressed in the next session.
Yes.
Thank you so much for allowing me.
Yeah. Any other question? Any other hand raised?
Yes, Mayur, few hands. Asha ma'am.
So we'll take two questions. Two more questions.
Asha ma'am, you can unmute now. Asha Sharma ma'am, you can unmute now. Okay, Narendra Deshmukh, you can unmute, sir.
Hello. Can you hear
me?
Asha
Okay, Asha ma'am is on the line. Yes ma'am.
Dear sir, I somehow missed the module number 1. But module 2, I attended. I have answered also. And module 3 also I have attended and I'm going to answer. But what about module 1, which I could not attend because of certain limitations here in Kuwait? So what will happen to certificate?
Okay. Ma'am, it is important that we should complete all 3 modules for certification.
What is the possibility for a person like me?
Ma'am, in that case, when we are in discussion with CBSE, CBSE is going to float all these modules, self-learning modules again. At that time, you can finish the first module.
Yes.
Right now, all the orientation for the first module is available on your Noida CBSE's YouTube channel. You can go back and watch that orientation for module 1.
Right.
CBSE floats it again. You can finish that module.
Okay. And assessment will also be done?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Narendra sir, you can unmute yourself now.
Can you stop sharing?
Hello, sir. Hi, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
I'm sharing the email ID also.
Hello, sir. Myself, Narendra Deshmukh from Vidyapeeth, Baramati, Pune, Maharashtra. Sir, I want to ask about the lesson plan. Now, is the last model, assessment of last model. I can't write something is a very low lesson plan about lesson due to range. So can I take second or first topic assessment, employability skill or student engagement and participation?
Sir, I'll repeat what I just now said. That
Sir, see, I can't write
in progress.
Who is working with us for making this session live on their YouTube channel. Thank you very much for your cooperation in the session. Thanks a lot. We'll see you again on the 8th on the same time, 11 a.m. Thank you very much.